Hello guys, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever the date or the day or the time na pinapanood nyo to. I hope this video finds you well. And I'm very glad that I am actually doing this asynchronous video lecture for you to cope with your lesson. I'm sorry if medyo blurry kasi I'm losing laptop. At the same time, it's evening. So I have to make use of my time to record kasi I'm actually preparing for my board exam. That's why I want you to listen very well with this short recording only, which gives you a glimpse of our discussion. So last time we discussed about ethics, right? The concept of ethics and the terms under ethics. Today, I will be discussing you guys the second topic for this course, which is entitled Moral Dilemma. So I have to close my camera in order to present my screen. Just listen very well as I discuss because I will be asking questions after this via Google form. So thank you guys. And I will now present my screen. Okay. Mhm. So, ayan. You can see my ano na. Okay. As I've mentioned a while ago, last time we already discussed about ethics, and today we will be discussing more of the moral dilemmas. I'm sure that you guys already are aware or you're familiar with this term dilemma. I know na minsan ginagamit niyo rin ito na, OMG, may dilemma ako ngayon, may problema ako. You are right, dilemma is associated with the word problem. But what comes into your mind when you hear the word decision making? So class, take note, moral dilemma is a moral problem which involves moral decision making. So let us define what is dilemma first. Hindi pa to moral dilemma ha? Dilemma lang. When we say dilemma class, it has something to do with the person is forced to choose between two or more conflicting options, neither which is acceptable. For example, you are torn between two options that is very acceptable and you have to choose one. So yan ang dilemma class. Kapag naman, may moral implication na or na idagdag na ang morality mo dito guys, that is called moral dilemma or ethical dilemma. So let us define what is moral dilemma. Moral dilemmas are situations where persons are so-called moral agents. Take note that we are moral agents because we have this morality in ourselves. That's why we are called moral agents in ethics. And moral agents are forced to choose between two or more conflicting options, neither of which resolves the situation in a morally acceptable manner. So take note class that moral dilemmas involve your moral perception, moral moral aspect. Kapag sinabi natin moral class, it is more on personal belief system kasi last time we already distinguished the two, which is yung isa is ethical, yung ethics class is generally accepted behavior or conduct. Meanwhile, ang moral or morality is more on personal level siya, guys. So, moral dilemmas are, in other words, by choosing one of the possible moral or requirements the person also feels on others. Take note, class, that moral dilemma is very complicated. Kasi kapag pinili mo ang isa, maapektuhan yung isa at may masisira kang isang moral moral principle. So that is moral dilemma. There are conditions to be called a dilemma, a moral dilemma. Kasi pag dilemma lang yan, class, or kapag problem lang yan, it's just a mere moral struggle or mental struggle or decision-making struggle because moral dilemmas are somehow higher than mental or moral struggles lang. So let us see the conditions in order to call a moral dilemma a moral dilemma. In order to call a certain situation a moral dilemma. So sorry. Pagod lang tayo sa work. Pero let's go. Okay, the first one, a person or the agent of moral action is obliged to make decision about which course of action is best. Always remember, class, that we are dealing here with the best among the best. You might be wondering, Sa isang sitwasyon na ikaw ay napunta sa isang sitwasyon and then you are forced to choose the two options which are best options, that is called moral dilemma. Another condition is there must be different courses of action to choose from. Why? Kasi if similar options lang yan, that's not a moral dilemma. For example, ano kakainin ko kaya ngayon? Lugaw o arroz caldo? Guys, that's a similar option. That is not a moral dilemma. It's just a matter of decision-making struggle. When we say moral dilemma, there are different courses of action to choose from. A good example of this is that abortion. Abortion is a very complex issue that is rampant not just here in the Philippines but in the whole world. In USA, actually, there are two conflicting groups in terms of abortion, my pro-life and my pro-choice. When we say pro-life, they do not want abortion, and we say pro-choice, they want abortion because pregnancy, especially those unhealthy pregnancy, might cause health problems to women. So this abortion is a type of moral dilemma. Next, no matter which course of action the moral agent chooses, there is always that moral principle that is compromised. Take note, class, that in abortion, that there is moral principle that is being compromised. Example na lang natin, may isang buntis na ang kanyang pagbubuntis ay hindi normal. So it's an abnormal pregnancy. So the problem is, since hindi normal ang pagbubuntis ni ate girl, she has to decide between the two moral dilemmas or two options, and it is called moral dilemmas, right? The first option is ipagpapatuloy ang pagbubuntis pero mamamatay siya sa dulo sa panganganak dahil nga complicated ang pagbubuntis mo. The second option, ipapa-abort yung bata, mamamatay yung bata at siya naman yung mabubuhay. So that is called moral dilemma. Anong moral principle na nasira dun? Kapag pinatay niya or pinatanggal niya yung bata, ano yung prinsipyong masisira? Murder. Ha? Prinsipyong masisira is yung right to life of the child. Take note, class, in science, life begins at fertilization of egg and sperm. Yung sinasabi nila. Once the egg and sperm fertilize, that is called life na. Kaya kapag pinaraspa niya yung baby, that is considered as killing or in legal term, infanticide. Di ba yung sinasabi nila? Take note, class, that abortion is a sin. Hindi siya vet sin kasi a sin, char. It is a sin or kasalanan kasi ang abortion ay maituturing na pagpatay na rin. So yun yung isang moral prinsipyong maapektuhan. The second moral principle is that if that certain lady continues her pregnancy, it might create crucial crucial pregnancy, unsafe pregnancy, and might lead to death kapag pinagpatuloy niya. Siya naman ang mamamatay. So, anong pipiliin ng ate girl mong buntis? Of course, gumising siya sa katotohanan, di ba? We do not know because that is a very good example of moral dilemma, but it's not a very good example of a life situation. Guys, take note, kung magbubuntis man kayo, make sure that it is safe, it is healthy, so that the life that you have and the life of the baby inside of the womb, inside of your womb is not at stake. So take note of that. So these are the conditions you need to consider in order to call a situation a moral dilemma. The first is there must be course of action which is the best. Kasi namimili ka sa good eh. So what are you choosing is the best among the good or the better among the good, di ba? The most perfect among the perfect. Parang ganun. Pero situational siya. Another one is there must be different courses of action to choose from. Kasi class, sa pagpare-pareho, if there are similar courses of action, it's not a moral dilemma, it's a mere decision-making struggle. Kung aros kaldo ba o lugaw ang kainin mo, gaga ka. Pareho lang aros kaldo at lugaw. Ang pinagkaiba lamang ay ang lugaw ay walang utak. Ay, utak palang lugaw. Ang oras kaldo, madami. my chicken, my ano, ganito. But enough with the Rescaldo class. What I'm trying to say, it's similar lang naman yung choices mo. Those are mere decision-making struggle lang. It's just a mental struggle about something, 'di ba? And the last condition is whatever the choice, the moral agent chooses, um, a certain moral principle is compromised or being affected. So take note of this. I want you to finish this video. Ano, very maiksi lang tong video na to. Kasi on the last part, you will create an activity and it's called recall and experience. Okay. We are done with the definition of moral dilemmas and the condition or characteristics of moral dilemma. Now we will proceed to the levels of moral dilemma. Number one level, class, take note, individual. When we say individual, it has something to do more with the personal or individual level of moral dilemma, wherein every person in this world, every human person experiences moral dilemma. And I know for sure that you guys have experienced moral dilemma, especially in choosing the career or the strand, no? Ano kayo, di ba? And choosing the course that was presented to you by the CSU CAT, di ba? So that is moral dilemma. Choosing between options that are really good is a moral dilemma. Take note, class, that individual happens in every person. The second level is organizational. When we say organizational moral dilemma, class, it has something to do with the workplace. I know for sure that in your classroom, you already experienced moral dilemma. When we say moral dilemma, organizational, it has something to do more with the workplace. Sa classroom nyo, it is considered a workplace. Why? Because you are working there. You're working for your grades, you are working for your requirements, you are working for your dreams. So basically, technically, classroom is a workplace. Sa amin, sa faculty, it is a workplace. And sometimes we do experience moral dilemmas, and that is in an organizational moral dilemma. Ano pa? Example niyan is sa office, sa sa ano pa ba? Sa bahay, 'di ba? Anything that is including your collective decision making, anything na by groups is an organizational type of dilemma, particularly sa workplace. The last level of moral dilemma, class, is the structural level of moral dilemma. When we say structural, it refers to moral predicaments or problems in public administration. Saan nga bang public administration? Public administration is also called the government. Take note, class, that the government has a lot of problems. The public has a lot of problems. The mass has a lot of problems. Why? Because we are experiencing poverty. The government experiences a corruption. So that is considered a problem or moral predicament in public administration. Madami pa, di ba? Dayaan. Ano pa? Kapag sa ayuda, dami nauuna. Kamag-anak ni mayor, lagi nauuna. Because there's no such thing as perfect government, but there's such thing as moral government, wherein your moral predicaments must be avoided, or moral problems must be avoided, and your moral standards must be prioritized. Kasi when we say structural class in public administration, dyan, a problem in a society, for example, the poverty that we are experiencing, the inflation that we are experiencing, extrajudicial killings, the yung pinapasakamay na lang ang batas without the due process, that is called a structural level of moral dilemma. Let's sum up. The first one is individual. It is more on personal. The second one is organizational. It deals with the workplace. And the last one is structural. It happens in public administration or government. Now, we are done with the levels of moral dilemma. I want this to be fast kasi very easy lang naman na maintindihan. And if you have any question regarding the topics that I am going to record, do not hesitate to message me, ha? Para bongga, 'di ba? So we have the types of moral dilemma. Actually, there are 8 types of moral dilemma and I group this into 4 na pare-pareho lang naman. So the first type is epistemic and ontological. Class, I have already sent this to you, no, tong PowerPoint. And this is the summation of the presentation kung ginagawa natin. And I'm not reading every detail of the presentation. When we say epistemic class, epistemic moral dilemma, it deals more with the situation. Kapag sinabi nating epistemic, the situation, unknown yung situation sa moral agent. That means that the moral agent do not know or does not know which one takes precedence over the other because nga unknown nga yung kanyang situation. Example, kapag may isa kang sitwasyon na nandoon ka pero hindi mo talaga alam kung ano yung sitwasyon, anong gagawin mo. So that is epistemic moral dilemma. Whereas in ontological class, the first thing that you must remember in this ontological moral dilemma, although very complex na kanyang definition, the first thing that you must remember or you must embed into your mind is that the conflicting morals override each other. When we say overriding on conflicting morals, hindi alam ni moral agent kung ano ang pipiliin niya kasi yung isa, inuungasan niya yung isa, di ba? Isang option ay nag-uungasan yung dalawang option. That means that they are almost the same or or they are very competent with each other to the point that the moral agent doesn't know what to choose between the two. So epistemic, more on situation, unknown situation, and ontological, yung term na override. Ha? Take note, override. Plus, in take noting, you must uh, learn to take notes, the key terms. You don't have to memorize everything. You don't have to be comprehensive because that is not curriculum vitae, that is not your book or research. Into note taking just the key terms, okay? Okay. The next one is self-imposed and world-imposed dilemma. From the word itself, self-imposed moral dilemma. Take note that when we say self-imposed, it is caused by moral agents' wrongdoing. Example here, class, is your own decision making. Who should be blamed for your own kamalian or wrongdoings? It is you. Because in the first place, it is you all along. We cannot really um, do things tapos isisi naman sa iba, di ba? Lalo na kapag kasalanan mo naman talaga. So that is self-imposed moral dilemma. The next one is world-imposed moral dilemma. Certain event in the world place you that moral agent in conflict. For example, the World War II, ano ba yung event na nag-conflict sa ating mundo? World War II, World War I. The recent one was the pandemic, wherein every person in the world is affected by this pandemic, di ba? The COVID-19 pandemic. So this is the world-imposed moral dilemma. The third one, obligation and prohibition. When we say obligation, moral dilemma class, from the word itself, obligation, you are obliged to do things that is obligatory or it is irresponsible. More than one feasible action is obligatory. For example, si Maria ay my best friend lang ikakasal. So it's her duty or responsibility or obligation as the best friend to attend to that wedding. Pero si Maria, meron ding birthday na atendahan, birthday ng mama niya. So 60th birthday, sabihin natin 60th birthday. Ano nga bang gagawin ni Maria? Ha? Kung gagawin niya ba ang duty niya as a daughter to her mother who is celebrating a birthday or as a best friend to her best friend who is having the wedding ceremony. So, yung obligasyon niya ba bilang anak, obligasyon niya bilang best friend. Next is prohibition. When we say prohibition, moral dilemma, from the word naman na prohibited or forbidden, lahat ng options or action ay bawal or any choice of the person is not allowed or forbidden. Kapag narinig nyo na yung obligation, responsibility, accountability, matik na yan, glass, na obligation moral dilemma. But when you hear the word prohibition, forbidden, not allowed, or it is being bawal, ganon, that is called prohibition moral dilemma. And the last type of moral dilemma class is the single agent and multi-person moral dilemma. When we say single agent, it has something to do more with your personal level moral dilemma or individual level. The definition here is very complex, and even me, when I first read this, I did not get it in the first glance. Kasi nga, you have to do such research about the single agent moral dilemma. Pero ang sinasabi niya lang dito, hindi mo kayang gawin ng isang bagay ng sabay. Kailangan mong gawin ng isa para ma-consider mo na gawin ng isa pa. So take note that the moral agent can act on two or more equally the same moral option but she cannot do both. Pwede niyang gawin ang dalawa o mas madami pang option pero hindi ay pwede siyang mamili or pwede niyang i-act or isa gawa ang dalawang two or more options but she cannot do it or she cannot choose both. Kunwari ako, pwede kong gawin ngayon na at mag-review at magturo, pero hindi ko kaya silang pagsabayin or gawin ng sabay. So that is a single agent moral dilemma. Another one is multi-person. It has something to do more with collective decision making. Example niyan is yung mercy killing or what we so-called the euthanasia. Kapag a certain family member ay dying state na, you have to choose either i-mercy kill siya or pagpatuloy mong nakita siyang nahihirapan. So, hindi mo yan kailangan i-decide na mag-isa. Hindi lang naman ikaw ang pamilya. Huwag kang bida-bida. Hindi na ikaw ang pamilya sa mundo. Hindi na ikaw ang pamilya niya. You have to ask the favors of other family members in order to come up with the sound decision making. Diba? With the sound decision. Because in multi-person, it does not really involve one person only. Kaya multi-person kasi madami. So, these are the types of moral dilemma. Take note of this, class. Before I add this, I want you to create a paragraph about the activity na I will be sending it to you later sa inyong GC. So before I end this, I want to emphasize this to you that life is a matter of choices and every choice you make makes you. Take note, class, you are you are what you choose, and every choice that you are making in this world that makes you as a person, that makes you as a human being. You choose to be good, well, that's good. You choose to be bad, it defines who you are. Take note that life is uncertain and we might choose, we might choose, we might choose to fail because we are practicing how to fail. We choose to win because we are practicing to win. Take note, class, that in life, sometimes our choices are bad. Well, if our choices are bad or our failure, that is a moral lesson. And if our choices are good or winning, well, that is a celebration. No matter what it is, it defines who we are. So take note that moral dilemma is happening to everyone. Hindi lang ikaw nahihirapan sa mundo. And that's why people cannot live alone. That's why life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you. You choose to listen here today because you want to pass the subject. That makes you as a good student. So with that, I will be ending this lesson. And of course, papakita mo na ako sa inyo. 'Di ba? Okay. Hello guys. 'Di ba? Pasensya na if blurry kasi gabi ko tong tingnan niyo may paano pa ako diyan. May pa-calendar para ma-monitor kong araw, no? 'Di ba? Nasa bahay ako ngayon, guys. So, thank you for listening and have a great, 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 great day ahead. Thank you guys and see you next meeting. Mwah.